Greetings! I am Tantus Narvan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome once again. It's time to talk about 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I'm just as excited as you are to talk about this stuff, so come on, let's ramp it up. It's time to talk about some more classes. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about, of course, the Druid, the Fighter, and the Monk. All very cool classes, which I enjoy playing. So let's talk about them, though. Let's start, of course, with the Druid. So what does a Druid get? Of course, they get a D8 hit dice. They're based around Wisdom. So Wisdom is going to be your most important ability score. Intelligence and Wisdom are the two saves. They get their proficiency bonus too. Now they're proficient in all light and medium armor, as long as it doesn't have metal in it, and all shields, as long as it doesn't have metal in it. They're also proficient in simple weapons, and they're proficient in a small selection of weapons listed on their sheet. So they also get proficiency in Herbalism Kit. It's a type of tool, so it's a tool proficiency, and 2 skills from their list of skills. And again, like all these classes, they have their equipment packages, which has how much money they get if you don't take the package, what you get if you do take the package, that sort of thing. So now I'm playing a Druid. So what do I get at every level? Well, you get spellcasting. Your spellcasting is based around your Wisdom, and acts a lot like what a Cleric gets. Meaning, I have a number of spells I can memorize every day from my Druid list, and it's equal to my Druid level plus my Wisdom. As I said, it's a Wisdom-based spellcasting. So I memorize those spells, and then I have a number of slots I can use. So if I have 2 slots, I can cast, if I have 3 spells, I can cast this one once, so I have 2 there, 1 and 1, 1, 1, do that same one twice, whatever it is like that. I just sort of get a number of spells in my head, and then I'm choosing them how I want to during the day. Now, of course, you also do get some cantrips as a Druid, as most spellcasting class, not all, but most, get some cantrips, which I've mentioned before. Small spells I can do at will. They don't use up anything. I just memorize them, and I can just use them. They're my basic sort of spellcasting. Now, Druids, of course, can do ritual spells if you have them on your spell list, and they use a Druidic focus as their focus, which is like a twig of holly or like a sprig or something nature-based, because they are nature-based spellcasters that sort of worship the old ways, almost, you could say. They've got this sort of worship of nature itself, and so they become warriors connected to that with their magic. So what else do Druids get? Now that's most of what you get at first level, but you do get a couple of things I should mention as you level up. You get Wild Shape, which gives you the ability to change into an animal. So in certain circumstances, maybe you have to take the form of a squirrel or the form of a cat. You know, as you level up in Druid, your Wild Shape expands and you get access to more animals, but you sort of just get that ability pretty early on. And you also choose a Druid Circle. Druid Circles are the big choice you have for your type of Druid, and depending on your circle, gives you a number of abilities. One of them affects your Wild Shape, one of them gives other effects. Those are the 2 that they mention in the book. So that's the Druid. So let's move on. Let's talk about the Fighter. The Fighters are a martial warrior who uses their strength or their dexterity to be great warriors who fight in combat, take down their enemies, they're straight head on, bam! That's a Fighter. Now they get a D10 as their hit dice. Strength or dexterity is their big ability score you should think about for them. So the 2 saves they're proficient with are Strength and Constitution. And they get 2 skills from their list. They're not proficient in any special tools. They're proficient in all simple weapons, all martial weapons, in all armors, and all shields. Okay, so we got the basis of the Fighter. And of course, again, same thing. Get a couple of equipments that you can choose from, or just basic sort of money you can spend on your character, depending on what your game master wants. So, as a Fighter, I choose a fighting style. Now, there's a list of these styles in the book. You look for one that fits your character and you choose it, and it gives you some abilities according to that. You also get a second wind, which is once per rest, long or short. I talked about rests before. You can recover some hit points. You roll a d10, you add your level as a fighter, and you heal it up. You're like, I got a second wind for battle. I'm ready for it again. And the big choice they make as a fighter is choosing a fighter archetype. And they list a number of archetypes, of course, in the book that you can choose from. The last one we're going to talk about today, of course, is the monk. They're martial artists who specialize in getting their skills that are based upon maxing out the abilities within them. that they're based around their body, not their skill with a weapon, but their skill with their own body. They get a D8 as their hit dice. Dexterity and Wisdom are the two big ability scores important for a monk, and they get Strength and Dexterity as their good saves. Now, they get, of course, 2+ intelligence skills. They're proficient in all simple weapons and short sword. That's the only non-simple weapon they're proficient with. And they actually get proficiency in a tool, an artisan tool, or a musical instrument of your choice that you would want to be proficient in. You are. Alright, so again, same thing, basic sort of equipment rules. So what do I get as a monk? I get unarmored defense. This means if I'm not wearing any armor, I can add my wisdom modifier to my AC as an extra bonus, so I'm getting something still. So they also get martial arts, which is all their fighting ability. Martial arts gives you a number of things. The first off is, as you level, you start to do increasing amount of dice of damage with your just unarmed fist. So when you start out, it's only a D4, but as you level, it gets a bigger die. You start doing more damage with your fists. You start punching better. Other things you get is you can choose to use either your strength or your dexterity when figuring out what kind of ability score you're using to your unarmed. So if you do choose not to have a very high dex and have a very high strength, as a monk, you're not punished by it. Or if you are the dexterity, which they recommend, you're also not getting punished with it because you can use it to your unarmed. So you're punching and kicking and headbutting and all the other stuff you do. And the other thing is, when you make an attack action, as a monk, you can, as a bonus action, I'll talk about what bonus actions are later on, but you can do one on your turn. That's a sort of little short thing right now. As a bonus action, you get another punch in with unarmed. And this works even if you're using a weapon that monk's proficient with. Examples, a quarterstaff, which monks can use. So I can get my attack or attacks with a quarterstaff, and then I can do a headbutt or something, or a kick. Just kick them or headbutt them, or whatever. What does a monk get as they level? They do get a couple of things. They have two things which increase as they level up. They get key points, which they can spend on a number of their abilities, and they get an unarmored movement bonus. These are two big things that just increase as you level, so the higher level you are at monk, the more of them you get. And now the big choice you have for monks is monastic tradition. So you're basically choosing a tradition that you're going under, and your abilities that you gain as you level are based upon that tradition you've chosen. Like a lot of these other classes, you choose something, and your abilities you get for your levels in the class depend on that. So we've talked about a number of classes here in 5th edition today. We're going to talk about some more next time. There's still 6 more to talk about. So if you have any questions about classes in 5th edition or 5th edition in general, just please leave them in the comments below, or if you want to say something about this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. It means that you're supporting us and that you want me to do more videos. And please subscribe, become a citizen of the Empire, join us. We're always looking for more members. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.